leaned on China to go get help with Russia. I mean, you're going and you're leaning on one enemy to get help with another. I never told China anything I didn't want Russia to know. I mean, this is just naive, and this is weak on every level. It's why we're continuing to have the problems, is because the U.S. is being foolish about how we're dealing with our situations.
And that was former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley on this program last month. We are back with Senator Bill Hagerty. He sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. He is at the southern border this week and has been watching the carnage on the ground. Senator, is the U.S. returning to the Iran deal, and why?
Well, it certainly appears that the Biden administration is doing everything they can to move in that direction. It's so foolhardy, but yet again, another example of President Trump taking a decision that was best for America, getting us out of that deal, and the Biden administration doing everything they can to undo President Trump's great policies just to, support their own vanity. President Trump is going to be proven right again here with Iran, the world's greatest sponsor of terror. We're talking about putting tens of billions of dollars into their hands, talking about putting them on the path to a nuclear weapon and completely destabilizing the Middle East. We heard nothing of the Abraham Accords since the Biden administration took office. President Trump achieved a tremendous victory there in terms of the possibility for peace and economic prosperity in the region. The Biden administration is willing to set that to the side immediately. They're going to do everything they can to go back to the failed policies of the Obama administration, just like they've done here at the border. President Trump had the wall funded here in Laredo, where I am. There is no wall here, Maria. It's a tragedy. It's chaos here. If you look around the globe, every place that the Biden administration has taken an action to undo President Trump's good policies, we've suffered, and nowhere more so than with domestic energy. Americans are feeling this every day at the pump. The Biden administration came in and killed our domestic energy policy. They waged war on the domestic oil and gas industry, and you've seen the inflation repercussions around America.
I don't understand why. What is the motivation, Senator? I mean, you're there at the border. You are seeing what the border agents are up against, trying to control and keep the law in place. It is no law at all. Wide open borders. Senator Marsha Blackburn told me that already they have apprehended at least 34 people who were on the terrorist watch list. So obviously we don't even know who's coming in and what their intentions are. There is an immigration structure in place. We give out 1 million green cards a year, and yet the administration is allowing all of these people, 18,000 people a day expected, to cut the line and break ahead of people who are trying to get here legally.
It's unbelievable, Maria. And just to go beyond that, the national security crisis that Senator Blackburn mentioned is enormous. They've apprehended 157 different nationalities here at this border since President Biden took office. 157 different nationalities. The UN only recognizes 195 countries. This is a massive national security crisis, and people keep asking me, why don't the Democrats do something about this? What's the motivation? Well, their big dollar donors, I'm certain, are happy to have cheap labor coming across this border. But even worse, it's the cynical thought that Democrat politicians with their sanctuary cities are trying to change the map, trying to change the electoral map for themselves in a way that is incredibly cynical, and they're willing to put Americans at risk. They're willing to lose 100,000 lives a year to overdoses. It's amazing what they'll do for search of power.
Unbelievable. Are you satisfied with the briefings that you've gotten on the Iran deal? You're on Foreign Affairs. You should be briefed. Can he push the U.S. back into this deal without Congress's input at all?
Maria, it certainly appears they're going to try to do this. They're going to try to go around the Congress again, not submit it as a treaty as it should be. Well, let me be clear. What that means is as soon as a Republican takes office back in 2024, that deal is going to be torn up again. We've got a process called INARA. They'll probably try to avoid that as well, but we're going to do everything we can to exert congressional oversight. I've tried to put legislation forward. The problem is I can't get Democrat support to do that. But I know that my Democrat colleagues see the folly in this as well. This is a major national security crisis.
And real quick on the national security crisis, once Title 42 is lifted, what are you hearing in terms of how things are going to change in the coming months now that the administration late on Friday confirmed what we expected, that the CDC is saying Title 42 is going away?
What I'm hearing here on the border, Maria, is that we're going to see a human tidal wave across this border. We're going to see a humanitarian crisis beyond anything you're seeing on the planet right now. What I've seen here the past 3 days on the ground are babies being left as distractions. We've seen drugs moving across this border in record proportion. We've seen children that have been subject to sexual abuse. This is horrible.
Wow. Senator, thanks very much for your leadership and for being at the border
Maria.
this week. We appreciate it. Thanks for being here, Senator Bill Hagerty. Quick break, and then the Senate.